welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I am Ali, and today is finally my 24 books, new books that I want to read in 2024. So obviously I have already posted this video about all the books that I read last year and also like goals and that type of ordeal that I have going into 2024. And I have a goal of reading 150 books. So to clarify, 24 and 24 is a challenge that people usually do each year. Last year it was 23 and 23. I'm sure people do their own take on it, of just, some people might just be like, I want to read 24 books total this year. For me, and like I'm sure many others, it's I want to read 24 books that are going to be published this year. But it makes it perfect since it's 24 brand new books coming out this year for me to sit down and do this video and actually talk to you guys about brand new books coming out this year that I'm really excited about. And I actually had a hard time coming up with these books because there is so many books I want to get to that's being published this year. There is still quite a few that I was really hoping were going to be this year, but unfortunately they're not. They're probably going to be next year or the year after. But I am still super excited for so many this year, and I narrowed it down to 24 to share with you guys today. So the first one, in no particular order, is An Education in Malice. This is by S.T. Gibson, and this is a continuation, I believe, in the series with A Dowry of Blood. Deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua's College. Isolated and ancient, it is not a place for timid girls. Here secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. This is a fantasy horror, gothic vibes. There is going to probably be romance in this as well, if it's anything like Dowry of Blood. The vibes are going to be there, and from what I'm gathering from this, there's going to be dark obsession, maybe a little bit of dark academia. I'm excited for it. Available February 13th of this year. Next up is This Wretched Way. This is by Jenny Kiefer. 4 ambitious climbers hike into the Kentucky wilderness. 7 months later, 3 mangled bodies are discovered. Were their deaths simple accidents or the result of something more sinister? This is a survival horror. I'm really, really excited. It's giving like Descent vibes to me, so I'm here for that. And it will be my first book from Jenny Kiefer. This Wretched Valley already came out in January. Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Seanan McGuire. This is book number 9 of the Wayward Children. I'm so far behind, but I put this on my list because I want this to be like my determination and like my end goal to be able to catch up on this series this year, because I've enjoyed it so much so far. I believe I'm on book 4. And yeah, I've just really been enjoying this little world that Seanan McGuire has made for the Wayward Children, or like worlds. I am a broken record here, but the series is about pretty much like these lost children. They all have struggles and things that they have dealt with in their lives that has led them to one day open a world into this fantasy story of a brand new world that's like perfect for them or terrible for them. And the ones that go and absolutely love it and ends up being their perfect place and where they belong, and for some reason are pushed back through the door to the real world, go and stay at Eleanor West's house, where they get to live with other children who are dealing with this and hopefully one day be able to go back to their worlds. It definitely is fantasy. It's even marked on Goodreads as young adult, which I can see that, but I do think that there is still some darker elements to these. Definitely check your triggers on any of these books I mentioned today. But I love this series. They're such fun little books. Each book explores the group of kids or really deep dives into one or two of the kids and their worlds, and so we get like a world building and everything in it, and they're all novellas, so they're just like the perfect little read to pick up. Perfect palate cleansers too, while also being like in the middle of a series. So I absolutely love them and can't wait for this one too. Mislaid and Parts Half Unknown is also already out. I love the dinosaurs on the cover. I see everybody going in their dinosaur era, and I want to go in my dinosaur era. Next up is I Was a Teenage Slasher. This is by Stephen Graham Jones. I just read my first Stephen Graham Jones and absolutely loved it, so I'm really excited for this one. This is another horror. It is also, I think, supposed to have some mystery thriller vibes to it. 1989, love that we're getting a throwback. I think there's quite a few books coming out this year that are very 80s, 90s slasher, and I'm loving it. There's some that have like even like VHS tapes and stuff on the covers, and I'm here for it. 1889, La Mesa, Texas. La Mesa, Texas, a small West Texas town driven by oil and cotton, and a place where everyone knows everyone else's business. So it goes for Tolly Driver, a good kid with more potential than application, 17, and about to be cursed to kill for revenge. Looks like it's going to be a bloody slasher. This comes out July 16th of this year. You Like It Darker by Stephen King. Of course this is going to be on my list, and I am so excited to get a collection of short stories like this from him this year. This is 12 stories that go into a darker part of life, both metaphorical and literal. These stories about fate, mortality, luck, and the folds in reality where anything can happen are as rich and riveting as his novels. I also believe there is one or two books or stories in this book that are kind of like a follow-up to some of his past work. So I'm going to double check on those. I do see that Rattlesnakes is a sequel to Cujo, which is really cool. But I believe that there's another one for some reason I was reading about, and it says you should read this book before you read his new book coming out. So definitely going to double check on that one, but I am so excited for this. And the You Like It Darker collection comes out in May of this year. Murder Road by Simone St. James. I've really liked her horror thriller book that I've read in the past. She has quite a few that I have been really wanting to get to. But this is a new one coming out in March. This is about a young couple that find themselves haunted by a string of gruesome murders committed along an old deserted road in this terrifying novel. This takes place in July 1995. Which is super cool. Apparently this couple takes a wrong turn and they're looking for a small resort town where they're going to spend their honeymoon. They spot what appears to be a lone hitchhiker along the deserted road. They stop to help, but not long after the hitchhiker gets into their car, they see the blood seeping from her jacket and a trunk barreling down Atticus line after them. Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. And I'm putting this one on here, and I maybe shouldn't, just because I haven't read the first Emily Wilde's. That one was the Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I've kind of been hit or miss with fairies this year, I'm not gonna lie. So we'll see, but I have seen so many people rave about this first book. So many people are so excited for the second book. This is a fantasy romance. It's like historical fiction is what I've seen, but everybody has just talked about how the plot and like the story itself is just so beautifully done. I want to try them out, so why not go ahead and throw the second book on there, even though I don't know if I'm gonna like the first or not. Cambridge professor Emily Wilde is good at many things. She is the foremost expert on the study of fairies. She is a genius scholar and a researcher who is writing the world's first encyclopedia of fairies lore. But Emily Wilde is not good at people. She could never make small talk at a party or even get invited to one. And she prefers the company of her books, her dog, and the fair folk. I am excited to try them out though. The second book, Maps of the Otherlands, just came out, so the two are available. Horror movie Paul Tremblay. If you guys know anything from my channel last year, you guys know that I fell down a Paul Tremblay rabbit hole and I absolutely loved it. And this cover is everything. I'm so excited, if you couldn't tell. This is a chilling twist on the cursed film genre from the best-selling author of The Pallbearers Club and The Cabin at the End of the World. He is very hit or miss for me with his work, but I do think that this one is going to be more of a hit for me. I feel like I think I would love more of the horror movie vibe from him, like I did with A Head Full of Ghosts. This is another one that takes place in the 90s, and a group of young filmmakers spend 4 weeks making horror movie, a notorious disturbing art house horror flick. I am so excited for that one. It comes out in June. The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. This is going to have to do for me. This is going to have to get me by until I find out what happens to Darlington. I am a huge fan of Ninth House and Hellbent, and I am just hanging on by a thread. And it looks like we're getting this year and not the third Alex Stern book. I am really excited about this one though. In a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, Lucia uses scraps of magic to get through her days of endless toil as a scullion. But when her scheming mistress discovers the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Lucia use those gifts to better the family's social position. Lucia plunges into the world of seers and alchemists, holy men and hucksters, where the line between magic, science, and fraud is never certain. I'm excited. Historical fiction, fantasy, romance in there. I freaking love this cover so much. It comes out in April. I was actually trying to not double up on any authors, but I have another Stephen Graham Jones, and this is the third book in the series that I started this past year that I really want to finish. And I believe this is the last one. I think it's just a trilogy. This is The Angel of Indian Lake. The first one is My Heart is a Chainsaw. I read it. I loved it so much. I bawled my eyes out. I still have to get to Don't Fear the Reaper, and then the third one. The Angel of Indian Lake comes out in March. This is a horror. It is very, if it's anything like My Heart is a Chainsaw, it's at times very literary fiction type vibe with those horror elements. It's so beautiful. His writing is just, it's stunning. I absolutely loved it. And the last part of My Heart is a Chainsaw just tore me apart. I actually don't want to read too much of the synopsis on this one since I haven't got to Don't Fear the Reaper. So I thought I would read part of My Heart is a Chainsaw. Jade Daniels is an angry, half-Indian outcast with an abusive father, absent mother, and an entire town that wants nothing to do with her. She lives in her own world, a world in which protection comes from the unusual source, horror movies, especially the ones where a mass killer seeks revenge on the world that wronged them. And Jade narrates the quirky history of Prufrock as if it is one of those movies, but when blood actually starts to spill into the waters of Indian Lake, she pulls us into her dizzying encyclopedic mind of blood and masked murderers and predicts exactly how the plot will unfold. It's such a ride, and I just thought, oh, I'm gonna have such a good time, but it really pulls at the heartstrings, and it was just so beautifully done. I absolutely loved it. What Feast at Night is the Sworn Soldiers book 2. The first one was What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This one comes out in February, so this month. In this follow-up gothic novella, it has all the gothic vibes as well. Horror, fantasy, love it. A retired soldier, Alex Easton, returns in a horrifying new adventure. The first book was kind of a take on The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, so I'm excited to see where this one goes. This next one is a Riley Sager, his summer book. I actually thought the last one was supposed to be his last one for a while, or that's the rumor I was hearing. maybe I was just thrown off there. But this one is called Middle of the Night. The worst thing that's ever happened on Hemlock Circle occurred in Ethan Marsh's backyard. One July night, 10-year-old Ethan and his best friend and neighbor Billy fell asleep in a tent set up on a manicured lawn in a quiet, quaint New Jersey cul-de-sac. In the morning, Ethan woke up alone. During the night, someone had sliced the tent open with a knife and taken Billy. He was never seen again. It looks like we have a little bit of a fast-forward moment. 30 years later, Ethan comes back home, so I'm sure it's going to, like, the mystery and thriller is going to unfold of what happened to his childhood best friend. This one comes out in June. The next one, you're going to see a little bit of a pattern with me where I'm putting books on my list of things to remind me to read other things, like, hey, you're going to put book 9 on here because you need to finish book 4 through 8 and then read 9. Same thing with this. This isn't technically a sequel or anything like that, but Sulari Gentill, I could be wrong pronouncing her name, and I really apologize for that. She wrote The Woman in the Library. It came out, I believe, in 2022, and I have heard so many good things about that, and then I read the synopsis and I was like, I need to read this. So this is kind of reminding myself that I need to pick up that book as well before this one. But the mystery writer, her newest one comes out in March. It says, there is nothing easier to dismiss than a conspiracy theory. Right up my alley. Until it turns out to be true when Theodosia, love that name, Benton abandons her career path as an attorney and shows up on her brother's doorstep with 2 suitcases and an unfinished novel. She expects to face a few challenges. Will her brother support her ambition or send her back to finish her degree? What will her parents say when they learn of her decision? Does she even have what it takes to be a successful writer? When her mentor, a highly successful author, is brutally murdered, Theo wants the killer to be found and justice to be served. Then the police begin looking at her brother, Gus, as their prime suspect. Theo does the unthinkable in order to protect him. I'm really excited. And it looks like it's a pretty thick book. Incidents around the house. I'm really excited for Josh Malerman to creep me out again. This one comes out in June, and it says to 8-year-old Bella, her family is her world. There's Mommy, Daddo, and Grandma Ruth, but there is also other Mommy, a malevolent entity who asks her can I go inside your heart? Horrifying incidents around the house signal that other Mommy is growing tired of asking Bella the same question over and over. Bella understands that unless she says yes, soon her family must pay. I am so ready for that one. I have another double up here, and I could not help myself because I love T. Kingfisher so much. This other new one from her comes out in August, and it's A Sorceress Comes to Call. I feel like it'll be a little bit different for me to an extent with her work. I feel like this one is going to be a little bit more like What Moves the Dead, because it is fantasy, horror, and also retelling. This is a dark retelling of the Brothers Grimm Goose Girl, rife with secrets, murder, and forbidden magic, and I am really, really excited for it. I believe she has another one coming out this year also, so it's going to be on my radar, but I had to choose an Ali Hazelwood, and that is Bride. I am so excited for this. We have a vampire werewolf romance. It actually comes out this month. So by the time you guys see this, it's already out. It's a dangerous alliance between a vampire bride and an alpha werewolf become a love deep enough to sink your teeth into in this new paranormal romance. I'm so excited and here for it, although I'm sure we're going to have a lot of the same tropes like in all of her books, but I eat that shit up. This one I had seen in somebody's video recommending it or saying that they were really excited for it. I believe it's also one of the book clubs I follow, I think, is having this 1 month. This is also out by the time you guys see this, and it's called And Then There Was Silence by Candace Robinson. Sadie Hawkins wants nothing more than to find success as a screenplay writer, but when she discovers the love of her life hanging from their bedroom ceiling, she gives up on her dreams until she receives an unexpected gift. Sadie has become the sole owner of the cabin in the woods she always adored, a secluded place where she can resurrect her dreams and drown her sorrows. Yet the woods are not the same. The days are still and lifeless, the shadows seem to follow Sadie, and the air holds the scent of her dead husband. As the days go by, she will either have to accept that her sanity is in jeopardy or uncover the mysteries hidden deep into the past, mysteries more terrifying than she's ever imagined. It says that this is perfect for people who love Mexican Gothic and V.E. Schwab, and I'm like, all right, I'm here for it. It is horror, adult, mystery, thriller, all the good things. We have a new Finlay Donovan coming out this year. If you didn't know, this is quite a long series going on. This is Elle Cosimano, fourth book in the series of Finlay Donovan is killing it. It is where a woman is a stressed out single mom of two, and she goes to meet her like literary agent. She's an author, and she's like telling her this new plot of a story, and it's like about a hit woman, and somebody mistakenly thinks that she is actually a hit woman and asks her to go and do this for a large sum of money that is kind of hard for her to turn down, and it just spirals from there. But it's a funny, goofy time. It's definitely not a series that you take like too seriously, but the fourth book is coming out in March, and it is called Finlay Donovan Rolls the Dice, and her and Vero, her BFF and like nanny, are going on a road trip. And I think we're gonna get a little bit more of Vero's past life and more things with her, and I'm super excited about that because she's my fave. Argyle. Elle Conway. I'm drawn in. I'm just so suspicious of a book that so many Swifties are going insane over, the fact that so many people think that Taylor Swift wrote this book. Now, there has been quite a few people coming forward and saying like it is not Taylor Swift. I think for a little while they're playing with it because they wanted to like rock the boat or get more people interested in it, get those Swifties really interested. But there is quite a few people like coming forward now and just being like straight up like, no, Taylor Swift did not write it. Who knows? But this, I think for me, was just something that grabbed my attention because I just think it's very strange for a book and a movie to be out the very same month. The same story, everything. Like, that was just very strange to me. So I have not watched it yet, and I decided I was gonna wait, get the book, read the book first, and see what I think. It's getting okay ratings, it looks like so far, but it is staying around the 3-star, so we will see. So it is about an author, a reclusive author who is drawn into the world of spies after she realizes that the new spy novel she's writing mirrors real-world events. I think it's gonna be a fun read. It looks like a lot of people are just like, this book is really overhyped. I guess we'll see. Promise this is my last like double author, but Seanan McGuire's is coming out with the third book, Alchemical Journeys series. I've really wanted to read Middle Game for so long. It's the book with the hand that's like candles. I've really wanted to read that one. I've heard amazing things about it. Then there's Seasonal Fears, and then Tidal Creatures, which is coming out this year in June. So it's the third book of that. Again, I don't really want to spoil it for myself, so I will go to Middle Game. Meet Roger, skilled with words, languages come easy to him. He instinctively understands how the world works through the power of story. Meet Dodger, his twin. Numbers are her world, her obsession, her everything, all she understands. She does so through the power of math. Roger and Dodger aren't exactly human, though they don't realize it. They aren't exactly gods either, not entirely, not yet. It's fantasy, fiction, science fiction. I'm excited to try the waters with that, with her writing, and see what I think, because it'll be new for me with her writing. Home is Where the Bodies Are by Genevieve Rose. I've actually seen quite mixed emotions and thoughts on her books, but I am really excited for this one. We have another VHS tape. This is a thriller mystery that comes out in April. She is also the author of The Perfect Marriage and You Shouldn't Have Come Here, both of which I've seen and have wanted to read. After their mother passes, 3 estranged siblings reunite to sort out her estate. Beth, the oldest, never left home. She stayed with her mom, caring for her until the very end. Nicole, the middle child, has been kept at arm's length due to her ongoing battle with a serious drug addiction. Michael, the youngest, lives out of state and hasn't been back to their small Wisconsin town since their father ran out on them 7 years before. While going through their parents' belongings, the siblings stumble upon a collection of home videos and decide to revisit those happier memories. However, the nostalgia is cut short when one of the VHS tapes reveals a night back in 1999 that none of them have any recollection of. On screen, their father appears covered in blood. What follows is a dead body and a pact between their parents to get rid of it. Before the video abruptly ends, Beth, Nicole, and Michael must now decide whether to leave the past in the past or uncover the dark secret their mother took to her grave. Sounds like an amazing time. Immortal Pleasures, we have a new one from V. Castro, and I'm so excited because I love the writing so much. Incredible author. Hundreds of years ago, this is Immortal Pleasures. It is coming out in April. It's an ancient Aztec vampire that roams the modern world in search of vengeance and love in a seductive dark fantasy. I'm excited. We have a horror thriller mystery from C.J. Tudor coming out this year in April as well. It's called The Gathering. It's a detective investigating a grisly crime in rural Alaska that finds herself caught up in the dark secrets and superstitions in a small town. I absolutely love a good C.J. Tudor thriller mystery with horror elements in it as well. And I'm so excited. It's like snowy Alaska. It's gonna feel very secluded and probably have a lot of the same vibes as The Drift. Excited for it. And my last book, I'm really going to ruin myself with this one because it is another 9th book in a series. And it's, again, one of those things where I'm like, I'm doing this to myself so that it motivates me to read a series that I've had my eye on for so long and have not picked up. But with that being said, I haven't even read the first one, so this could potentially just ruin it all. If I end up not liking the first one, I will have to suffer through this one. Or suffer through the whole series, which I don't plan on doing if I don't like it, or just fail my 24 and 24. So I'm not really sure why I'm doing this to myself, but I have read Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn, and I really enjoyed it. I feel like I was a minority when it came to that book too. I feel like so many people just really didn't like it, and I really enjoyed it. So I think that I could potentially really like this series as well, although it is definitely very different vibes. This is more historical fiction, mystery, a little bit of romance. And if you're wondering, it's the Veronica Speedwell series. The new one, A Grave Robbery, is coming out in March, and it is book number 9. A Curious Beginning is the first one, and it says London, 1887. As the city prepares to celebrate Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, Victoria Speedwell is making a milestone of her own. After burying her spinster aunt, orphaned Veronica is free to resume her world travels in pursuit of scientific inquiry. And the occasional romantic dalliance. As familiar with hunting butterflies as with fending off admirers, Veronica wields her butterfly net and a sharpened hat pin with equal employed, and with her last connection to England gone, she intends to embark upon the journey of a lifetime. But as fate has other plans, as Veronica discovers when she thwarts her own abduction with the help of an enigmatic German baron who has ties to her mysterious past, promising to reveal in time what he knows of the plot against her, the baron offers her temporary sanctuary in the care of his friend Stoker, a reclusive natural historian as intriguing as he is bad-tempered. But before the baron can deliver on his tantalizing vow to reveal the secrets he has concealed for decades, he is found murdered. Suddenly, Veronica and Stoker are forced to go on the run from an elusive assailant as worry partners in search of the villainous truth. I'm curious to see where it goes. It came out in 2015. I hope I end up liking it. It's a series I'm starting soon. And I'm excited for it. And hopefully I will get to a grave robbery as well. That is the 24 books that I want to read. Brand new books coming out in 2024. There is many, many more on my radar that are coming out this year. I feel like it's going to be a really fun book year, and I'm loving all of the throwback vibes. I am super, super excited. Really, for all the horror books, I am so excited with the direction they're all going, and you'll have to let me know what books this year are catching your eye, what you're really into, and if you have any other recommendations for me, I would love to know. I don't know if I'm going to do a little check-in, maybe a mid-year check-in on how my 24 and 24 is going would be good. Maybe even make it a vlog style where I'm like, hey, this is my check-in, and since I'm sucking this up, I'm going to now read with you guys for a week 24 and 24 picks. It may just end up being that, but maybe I will do a mid-year check-in and then an end of the year roundup so you can see how many of these I completed. But I'm super excited. I already have some of them that I'm going to be reading soon, so I'm going to try to get a head start on them. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next video.
Be quiet, look at me, there I go, choking on my silence. And I don't think you want me cause I wanna keep it private. And I don't think you know me if you're not one of my 5 friends. But it's my own fault.